don't go along with investor questions, because the one who asks questions is the one that controls the conversation. Because if there's a real problem, there's a business potential.
How much do you give me from 1 to 10?
The pitch deck?
Yeah.
I invested and I want to exit. That's my job. But basically, way to not give up equity early on is to do the...
This is gonna blow your mind. So I'm developing a software and I want to build a business that makes 100 million. And here I have a friend, my partner, who has a business that does 200 million already. And we are gonna go over my idea, how the idea came about, the pitch deck, the getting funding, because currently I'm looking for a venture funding for the idea to develop it. And I'm gonna share the first milestone, where basically this week we also send the pitch decks to some venture funds, and we have the first acceptance, I guess, or some response that they're interested in talking more. And then we're going to talk about the go-to-market strategy for the idea. Nice. Cool. Pretty nice intro, right?
Good. Yeah,
it was
very
really
energetic,
good,
man.
It was actually improvised. It was improvised.
Yeah.
It was improvised.
Nix is getting too good.
I have a business that sells services to small, medium, micro businesses. And we sell them digital marketing services, getting them leads, getting them sales. And we do also have courses where we educate them and train them and help them.
Okay.
The problem that our customers are having is that they don't have a CRM. They don't have a way to communicate with leads really, really fast. And we're giving them other providers, which are basically other outside software that they're actually using and doing.
Okay.
So we had this idea, hey, we want to build a big business, a really valuable business. And so we developed our own ideas and what kind of software could we build for our customers so they could help it, they could use it and do it, etc.
Right. So, sorry, what you're saying is you want to more automate what you already are doing in a software as a service platform? Or
so basically, I have a service where they get the leads and we're giving them other software that are helping them to manage the leads and close the deals with the leads.
Okay, gotcha.
And we're like, hey, why are we selling these other companies? We should build our own and do it.
Okay, understood.
And this is a logical thing that agencies transition into software. Very like companies like Loom actually was an agency, then became a software. Multiple examples like this. And also I was checking Y Combinator that from the top 100 startups, there's 0 startups that are professional service-based businesses. And most of them are 30% is SaaS, and then there's marketplaces, then it's like transactional business models, but there's no professional services. And my goal and ambition is to build something really big, so I need to transition into that.
Okay.
That's where the idea came from. Now
that's the elevator pitch?
That's the big.
Okay.
And now I'm gonna do you actually my pitch deck. This is the first time I actually have made something like this. Of course, I did Google. I asked ChatGPT, some slides. It's my first version, and you're gonna criticize it a little bit. So it's gonna be interesting for you guys. Okay. So the intro. We have 2 founders. One of them is Toms. He's a 10-year software engineer, has a family of 2 children, has worked in the company We Are Learning, Haiba, which is a fintech, Centro, and is a member of Intelligence Space.
All right. Can I start criticizing?
Okay.
First of all, you don't put the team in the first part of the pitch deck.
Okay.
You put what is the problem? What are you addressing? What's the
That should be first.
Yeah, that should be first.
Okay.
When you put a team, I don't give a shit about his kids' pictures. Remove that.
Okay.
I don't necessarily care about his picture altogether. You can remove that.
Okay.
The only valuable information for a potential investor from this is a 10-year software engineer. I don't care if he's got a family or not. It doesn't,
Doesn't matter. Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Okay.
These different links, they mean nothing to me.
Better would be logos?
Logos probably, and or like some information about what these different companies are. They companies that he has built or that he has been employed with or something like that. Just let's say employed with this great superstar company in this position. That gives me a good understanding. Now I don't understand any of this unless somebody tells me, and so I need to understand the information from the pitch deck alone.
Okay.
Yes?
Yeah.
So just the word.
I will change it today.
Okay.
So
that's it.
Okay. Good feedback. Then for me, you would probably do the same. Remove the family picture. Years in business, would you leave?
Sure. Yeah.
That's helpful. Okay. The next thing is here. I had this like weird thing where I wanted to share that I have an existing business. I'm not like a first-time founder.
Yeah.
So I'm like sharing this existing business.
But again, for existing business, you need to mention. You have facts there, but you could put it all in one slide.
One slide. Existing business. Boom.
Existing company doing these and these numbers.
Things. Okay.
Let's see if there's something. Number 1 business show.
And then here I have numbers, like financial numbers.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, so this in one slide, make it more shorter. Okay.
Your existing business all in one slide. You have 3 slides, you can put it all in one slide.
And I also wanted to show that we have an audience, we're doing content.
Yeah, sorry. And then maybe an additional slide is so what? Yeah, always very important. You're giving information. So what that you have 2,300 customers from the EU, US, blah, blah, blah. So what in terms of like this new business that you're pitching? Meaning, or like, what am I trying to say? So from this experience of having already an existing business, 15 people, team, and so on, you have to say 1, 2, 3 bullet points. So this means we already know how to build software, like, and scale it fast. We have an existing client base that could get us up to revenue of like, let's say 500K in the first year. Or we have world-class experts, 3 of them out of my team that already can, do this and that. Just simple 3-point bullet points in terms of so what from the slides. Yeah.
Good one. Love that feedback. The numbers. Then I share a little bit about the organic content that we have.
So we start with the problem. That's the thing.
We will start with the problem. So the problem is for micro, small businesses such as agencies, bookkeeping consultants, coaches, and service providers, lacking systems and AI to close more deals faster. Incoming calls, messages that don't have immediate actions are losing you deals, such as, hey, you're on an object like traveling and people are writing on your Instagram and you're not responding immediately. That's the problem. Or communication is happening in multiple channels. So the business has email, phone, multiple phones, Telegram, WhatsApp, like all channels, but they're not organized in one place.
Okay.
That's
so just quickly here, you can put all this in it's nice and short, but probably in one slide. So the 3 core problems, the key issues. And ideally, if you can figure out some statistics in terms of numbers, how much money is lost, how much money is left on the table, or I don't know, not turned into like
some statistic. I mean,
some number. So let's say when we're talking, for example, cybersecurity, like a startup, right, or a company, the pitch deck is that like there is AI-driven risks for like servers, and our cybersecurity firm is addressing like some heavy server security issues. And so far, customers lose that much money globally per day or whatever on hacks and so on and so forth. That's a statistic. You can have maybe like a small reference where that statistic comes from. So I understand kind of so what again. So these problems, they are problems. Maybe those problems mean that, these SMEs lose out, let's say 500 euros per month on not having, these optimal solutions. So it's not a big deal. Right? If you say because of this, SMEs basically lose 50% of their business, that's a big deal. You understand what I mean? Mm-hmm. So again, like a so what kind of, or not a so
but
what.
It needs to be factual, right?
Yeah, factual. Yeah. Well, facts are like always relative. You can.
Yeah. But is it like my estimate? Would that also work? My estimate is that these businesses are losing.
Well, that is, if you say that it's an estimate, then it's very shaky. Then I would instantly not believe it. Or to feel like it's less credible. But if you say, like on Wall Street, not Wall Street Journal, whatever, some sort of like a research based, we know that in this specific area with these problems I'm addressing, existing customers are losing money, not making, or something like that, then that's more believable. Then it gives a sense that there is a market.
One more thing I want to note, you might be seeing this is not reversed. We have not done this before. And what I'm doing, I'm like not cocky guy. I'm like making notes. So I'm not like Einstein. I'm not to remember. I will most likely not remember everything. So I'm making notes about everything you're saying. And I'm going to make adjustments. So, the solution, The solution.
Yeah.
So the solution is we're going to provide a sales CRM with AI agents in multi-channels. Do you think it's clear? Could you understand it from the one line?
Yes. I mean, again, maybe it could be rewritten in better English, but effectively, yes. Okay.
Let's move forward. So now I talk about some facts about what already has been done. So we launched it 2 days ago, have already sold 26 customers at 500 euros each for 6 months access. And we have a WhatsApp group with the customers so they can get support really fast.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah.
That's fair enough?
Yeah.
Then I show the soft. So I show the solution, dashboard, CRM, activity planning.
Okay, so my suggestion is that this goes as an annex, as an addition at the end of the slides, if or at the end of the presentation, if an investor potentially wants to see these, because I mean it's okay, but
Also for venture funds, you mean?
yeah.
They don't want to see the solution?
No. The solution is fine. What you're giving here is basic pictures of any CRM could look like this. So it's not really giving me like insights. Okay, I understand that there's a product built, but I don't necessarily need to see the CRM dashboard for me to believe that you've built it and so on. If I really want to see it, if I'm like a product very focused guy and whatever, then I would want to maybe see it at the end. I can optionally scroll through these pictures, but not as part of the core pitch deck. Yes, you have a bunch of pictures as part of your core pitch deck, which is like mostly everybody will just skim through it and not.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Dashboard, the CRM, activity planning, template messages and automations, phone notifications about
you can have these titles as functionality description all in one slide. That okay, your CRM already has these, let's say 5 bullet point description of the functionality, as opposed to pictures, like 7 slides of different pictures.
And then at the end, I could add, here's a demo of how this.
Yeah, exactly. Works. And then a demo, exactly, in terms of pictures or maybe a video, optionally for you to review, or like a link in that slide with the demo.
Yeah, but I have a demo. I can give them a link.
So that's
okay.
Just, again,
integrations, adding team members, automated follow-ups.
Yeah.
This is actually
this is
feature.
A demo base. This is kind of like a simplified demo. So you don't want to have the demo as part of the pitch deck.
Okay,
you want to have it separate.
Got it. Okay, makes sense. Multi-channel inbox. This is the part which is the multi-channel. Okay. So all of your channels in one place, and the agents are added here based on your information of the company, based on your scripts, and based on our own playbooks, which we have developed, like how to work the leads, where the agent could respond to these people.
Who is developing the agents? Is it the customer, your customer themselves will be able to integrate?
It is us, right. And then the customer gives reference points about their business, aka their website link, so the agent can get like when did they work, what is the address, etc.
Okay.
And also they can share conversations with the customer, so the agent can learn contextual information.
Okay, so it's not like your customer will be able to go into your platform and build these AI agent or like functionalities of what the AI agents do themselves. That's what you would do.
No, we would let them to customize in the workflows. Like I want them to send me like a WhatsApp report of what has happened that day. Or I want them to send me what did John do that day. And ultimately, my idea is we could do it like this. The owner, the manager could ask, hey, please check last week what has happened about the sales, what kind of numbers, give me a report, and send back report. Like super fast.
Okay, gotcha.
That would be the end really good solution.
Yeah.
Which is actually what I got from Naval Ravikant, the nice idea. You need to think about what society wants and does not know how to get. And you need to provide that at scale, and that's how you can become rich.
I love these Silicon Valley like deep
nice.
quotes. Like what society wants is no war. How do you deliver that, dude? Like, tell me. Okay. Off topic.
Then the AI agents trained by playbooks and human-driven strategy, and then AI ensures perfect execution.
You know what I always thought funny about these pictures with robots? I mean, if you're such a robot and you have all the AI stuff, why do you need the keyboards and screens? If you're a robot, you don't need this. It's all in you. It's already in you. It's like, okay. So that's
Then here's my kind of go-to-market strategy. So I first 100 users. I want to get really good feedback. I have an existing business where 30 to 50 new clients per month. And I also agree with what you said. So this I need to add in the first one. So I need to say I'm selling these people that much per month. So actually getting flow of deals already. Then the next thing is building sales funnels with paid ads. So I'm going to sell education plus software. I'm actually going to show you a landing page. Then content marketing, events to sell. And the biggest 2 ideas which I like and have big potential is many people that want to start a business, they don't have a service and they don't know what to sell, but they would love to start a business. Yeah. And I have an idea to provide them this option. Hey, start becoming a Sharpify AI consultant and sell to businesses.
Right.
The solution. You go out there, you sell them. You don't get like MLM 5% commission. We're going to give you 40% commission on everything you sell.
Okay.
And for life. And the customer recurring, and they for life make money.
And those could be like freelancer
everybody.
Sales agents.
Agencies, like marketing agencies. Okay. Those could be.
Has this worked in your experience in your existing business or in companies that are similar to what you are building? This kind of it's not that maybe if it hasn't, it's not a bad thing.
The best example is ClickFunnels.
ClickFunnels. What does it mean?
ClickFunnels is a software that does this really well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They basically.
But do they have such a freelance people?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hundreds.
Wow.
Thousands of people selling them.
Wow.
And building their own business and income with them.
Okay.
The platform school also does this.
Yeah, but you also need to provide training and all of that.
Yeah, I provide training, I provide materials, but and like again, I'm not gonna try to sell to the end consumer. I'm trying to sell to people who could sell to end consumers.
Yeah,
have more leverage on it.
Yeah, interesting. Very interesting. That's
very interesting idea, right?
Yeah.
And the next idea is once the software has multiple features, I would love to transition into more B2B sales from 1,000 to 50,000. Okay, I said 10,000, but 1,000 to 50,000, where there's like a solution where we onboard them, customize the platform for them.
Let me stop you there a little bit. One random question: why are the fonts different sizes? There's font.
I wanted to get them in one line. Okay. I wanted to get this in one line.
All right. So a classic mistake of entrepreneurs is to build the solution and add on features and add on things that it can do, and focus on the product and the solution instead of focusing on the problem. So what you have done in this whole pitch is you are talking primarily about your solution and how you're going to sell it, while the real job is to primarily talk about the problem. You know, what types of customers have this problem, how big it is, how big of a priority this problem is for those customers you want to target. The problem. Focus on the issue, because that's where the business lies. The business doesn't lie in you coming up with a great CRM, adding a fucking ton of functionality that eventually you're going to have to force people to somehow sell. The business lies in figuring out that there's a real problem and you have a solution, and then you will have to work less on selling because the customers will come themselves. I mean, like, I'm talking symbolically, but generally, like, just by the amount of energy or like focus that you have from just talking, you're talking about the solution, not the problem. As an investor, not the best investors, but investors that are very experienced, they understand that they want to know a lot about the problem. So basically, majority of your pitch deck, not majority, but a big part, more than what you gave 3 like cool bullet points without any insights, without any analytics, and so on and so forth about the problem. That is the majority of the focus, yes? Because businesses are built on solving problems, yes? That's also kind of a Silicon Valley cliche way of thinking. But if you want to raise VC funding, you got to prove that there's a real problem, and then there's a customer that's ready to pay you to solve this problem. Yeah. Here you're talking about a bunch of functionalities, a bunch of sales channels, because that's your natural thing. Like, is to find good, interesting sales channels, run ads, have these affiliate programs and all that. That's fantastic. But that, like you can take any product and stick this sales machinery on it. This is not what makes your business unique or successful. What makes it unique or successful is if you identify the real problem from your experience of working with these small, medium businesses, and you see that they're all over the place with the communication with the clients. Focus on that.
But I could share that. They have these customers, which I'm professional in services, and
that
I see that their problem is...
Exactly. That is the main focus. Man, like, I'm seeing it all day long. They're struggling with this.
Is it true thing? Is it true?
That's the majority of your pitch. It needs to be on that.
Okay.
Not the cool go-to-market strategy as a, like, as a list that you've thought about it, you understand what it means, and so on. That's fine. But the main job is focus on the problem to convince an investor that there's a real problem. Because if there's a real problem, there's a business potential. Yeah, that's more like fundamental.
Good. Then I talked about my challenge. Yeah. Like, why I'm actually looking for funding? Is it needed or no need?
Challenge, more dedicated specialists. I don't understand it. So you mean this is like where you would spend the money?
Yeah.
Okay, you need to rephrase it. So it's very simple. The ask, that's what it's called.
The ask?
The ask. So how much, so that's one slide basically. How much money you're asking, and where you are going to spend it. And where you're going to spend it is basically like always a pie chart. Okay, I'm going to spend it on R&D, hiring management, marketing, sales, product development. Like a rule of thumb, the more you say you're going to spend it on marketing and non-product, the less investors like it. The more you spend it on product, the more investors like it, because that's, again, you're focused on the problem, on the solution of the problem. But that's it, it's very general. Doesn't mean necessarily.
Okay, good feedback. Like that. Then my goal. Short term?
it's all good, but you don't need to set this in like separate slides. I understand that's the style, but again, if you would pack it into slightly less slides, it would be useful. But anyway, that's just
so here is not the same as public speaking. So less info on slide. Here's
exactly. You're carrying over the public speaking on stage type of thing. You're talking. You're giving these visual anchors, cues, etc. That's cool. But imagine I'm sitting in an office. I've looked through like 25 different other documents, and then I'm seeing this. It's some people probably like prefer it and so on, but like let's say the common practice is that you pack in useful short bullet point information in a relatively small number of slides, and that's it. And like the job of the pitch is to convince the investor that there is a real problem, there's a real thing, and that you're the right person to basically build something to solve the problem. That's the whole job of the pitch deck. It's nothing more, and it should be therefore simple. If you look at all the successful pitch decks, they're all public. So this Airbnb, super basic, simple. There's no designs. Revolut, super basic pitch deck. They're very simple. It's not rocket science.
Okay, then the vision. What do we want to do? 100,000 businesses.
That, but I mean, that's personal. I mean, like who cares? Like vision. I mean, it's great, but yeah.
Why did they add it? So I saw one question, which was, when do you plan to exit the business, or what's the exit strategy? And I was like, I don't want to exit it. Like,
okay, that's important. Let's talk about that. It's less to do with this. So this exit strategy. I mean, if you talk to VC's business model is to invest money and then earn it back or like exit in about 5 to 7 years because they have a legal obligation to their investors to close the fund and distribute the proceeds. Yes, if your business model doesn't imply that, you're not going to get investment. So therefore, that's where like fundamentally there's a clash of interest and like a fundamental understanding of how to build business. If you're asking for VC money, it's not a pump and dump. It's you get the funding, you pump it up, and you sell it. That is the business model. Unless you fit that business model, that logic, there's no point to go to VCs.
But can I sell it without me? Like I don't exit.
Yes. I guess that's a good way to position it. So you can say, okay, there are ways for investors to exit, which is through strategic share sale, IPO, or like overall sale of the business to a bigger competitor. That's fine. For sure, you don't need to say you want to exit. That's logical. Okay. That's fine. And therefore, you definitely need to address this point of how do you exit? How is this business possible to be sold? And then the best example, if you use examples from the industry, there are like bigger companies. Let's say last year there were several exits in this specific industry. This is a potential way of how it's done. We believe it's
that's
possible.
Really nice, right? Yeah. Quick additional question about this one. So I have it in my mind. There's no one specific number. So I had this like, how much would be useful? Like 100,000, probably not useful. Like don't need it. But if I get 300, 500, that range is useful. Is it good to say a range or better one number?
No, one number. Yeah. A range is not an answer. I mean, then the investor could say, I give you a range of answers whether I would invest yes to no.
Okay, this is a good one.
So but also remember that things are always more expensive, take more time. Yes, so that applies also to funding. Okay, if you raise 100K, there's only limited amount of stuff you can do. You can hire one great person at 8K cost to business per month, and that's your 1 year, and that's done. 500K, logically at this stage, that's what makes sense.
In pitch deck, do I need to be very specific about these monthly costs, or a range is okay? Like estimate?
No, specific.
Specific.
And everyone understands it's a guesstimate. That's implied that everyone understands it's not exact science.
How specific do you think? Like, let's say I'm asking 500,000. How specific about the costs, about development costs, for example?
In terms of costs that will happen from using this money, or in terms of like overall kind of a P&L?
Because you said pie chart, and pie chart, like, percentage.
How do you use the proceeds? I would not even use the word costs. How specific? I mean, let's say you have 4-5 positions that you spend on, and that's it. And let's say you can percentages.
Okay, let's say
there's no need. 40% goes to product development. 20% goes to marketing.
There's no need for say 3 employees at this much per employee. No need.
If you can, not in that same slide. In that same slide, it's the ask and how you're going to spend the money. That's sufficient. But I, for example, I'm always more focused on the financial details. I would want to see also like some assessment of the P&L generally. Okay, like you have to hire these and these people. Your estimate of the salary is this much. That's the total cost for payroll. Then that's the total cost for like, I don't know, infrastructure spend. And then there's a cost of running these types of ads for this many months. And that's the total cost. And that's a more detailed breakdown, which ties back precisely into the percentages that you give in the ask slide. And if you have that additional slide later on, maybe as an appendix, that is, better, not worse. That will only help you.
Got it. How much do you give me from 1 to 10?
The pitch deck?
Yeah.
I don't know, like 4.
Okay. One other guy told me an 8, so I was like
8?
Okay.
Who gave you an 8?
I'll tell you after.
Okay.
Okay. So I will make these adjustments.
Okay.
Let's talk about now. So really good tips. Now I will talk about. So I was like, okay, my idea was, okay, how do I kind of proceed? Okay, I have some idea, have something. So my idea was, okay, who do I know who is in this space? So I came up with one friend who was also with me. I met him 2 years ago. So I texted him WhatsApp, hey, have this idea, have customers, have MVP. Would it be cool to meet or I could share you? Maybe you could help me out. Boom, book that, send him, have a meeting. I go to the meeting, I do this pitch also really quick. And she's just like helping me. Immediately gives me 3 contacts, tells me the best funds to kind of go about. And I can also share it in Latvia because it's public knowledge. It's like 3 big funds. One is Build It, then it's Bad Ideas. And the third one was Outlast Fund. Outlast Fund. So those 3, and those 3 are, I guess,
that's Latvian seed stage funds. Not only seed, but like.
And this is specifically for me, right? Like early stage.
I think very good ideas to go with those.
So I got those. Got specifically also contact information from those people. Interesting thing. I also in that same day I go to these websites, fill out the forms, apply. But actually, these contacts where I got them actually did help on the bad ideas faster.
Okay.
Because they responded actually in WhatsApp. And gave me different emails than the application form.
Okay.
So the application form was like a type form, but then this was different. So it did help, like some different thing. What happened? I got my first response. So I'm gonna like quickly share how that looks on the screen, so other people also can see. Of course, this is I guess doesn't say nothing. It's just like here just you can see response, like what it looks like. What you're building has piqued our interest. Having just completed the first step of the 3-step process, you're moving your application further in-depth review by deal evaluating.
Actually,
what does that mean?
This is pretty impressive, to be honest, about the fund, because many funds simply don't respond. They respond very late. If they say no, they don't explain. So the fact that they give, even if it's obviously automated,
and it's
response,
18 hours before.
It's I think very impressive, and it gives a sense of progress of where you are in the process, and that you're excited by that sense of okay, I'm somewhere, right? In most cases, in my experience, like you get no sense, nothing.
Oh, really?
Like you don't get a response, and maybe you get a response, and they say it's like negative, no, and with little explanation, or the explanation is cookie cutter. It's like we're not excited about this space, and that's it. There's no real explanation.
So kudos to bad ideas. The other funds,
great.
one of them has not responded, and the second one we have a booked meeting for Thursday. I think also good if they are ready to meet.
So to increase the chances, obviously, of getting more attention and having your investment proposal seriously considered is that you try to get into the funds through people that work there, through personal connections. So instead of like the online forums and so on, you want to get some ideally partners' email and send them and ideally meet them. But obviously it's harder. Yes, it's easier to go through websites, but just the the return on the sending through forms is going to be much lower than if you meet the people, obviously. But yeah.
And now it's like, okay, so what should be my thing? So what I'm doing currently, I'm still developing the software. I'm gonna start onboarding my own customers, which are buying my services next week because I have some still functionality which is need to be updated, and then need to update the pitch deck. What do you recommend me to do?
Okay, man. So I recommend you to figure out a list of at least 100 investors.
Private, right? Like in one?
Private. So first of all, like different potential investors. Okay. Those can be high net worth angel investors. Those can be funds. Those can be angel investor clubs, Estonian, Latvian, Latban, all of those. Just rich guys that invest in companies and make a list of at least 50, at least 100.
Okay, 100.
And then start really like reaching out to them And ideally, the more you will try to have a warm kind of lead and discussion, the bigger the chances. Because if you're just going to send to some, I don't know, Estonian super successful entrepreneur that you got his email and you're going to send him the pitch deck and that's it, the chances that he will respond is little. If you manage to get somebody he knows and that you know and that you have a reference to that guy and there's an intro email, obviously the likelihood is going to be much higher that somebody's going to look at it. So not only like 100 people list and then sending LinkedIn emails to those 100 people, the return is going to be less than 1%, I would imagine. Yes, but like spend time to figure out how do you actually through connections get to those people. That's one, and that's a lot of hard work. That's one. Second is obviously focusing on the product and just development of that. The third one, which is probably more important for companies that are bigger size, but also for startups, is think about what happens when you meet an investor. They say, okay, I'm interested. So what do we do next? Do you have any information? Do you have a demo? So question is, you have to have a demo ready.
Have it.
You have to have, if you have a team, you have to have a team ready to go on a call or on a meeting to actually discuss this in more detail. So think about what is the next step if the first step in the door of getting attention from an investor is successful. And normally the first step is, okay, I invite you for a meeting, present this live in more detail. Okay, so prepare for that. That is important to rehearse. Yes. And man, I had like a very interesting experience for like about 2 years. We were fundraising for big equity Series B, and we had a broker, and the broker was training us, literally like a proper American sales training. After every meeting, he was saying, "Okay, here you took too long. This was not clear. Okay, let's rehearse this." And then it's literally like a training that you go meeting after meeting. There, I had the video actually. I was trying to videotape it, and so. What I'm trying to say is when you're training to explain your business, do that in front of people so that they give you feedback. So you go into an investor meeting, you don't start enthusiastically talking about a bunch of shit. You're very focused on, like, again, what is the problem, the product, how you're good at solving it, and also very importantly, don't go along with investor questions. Normally, very aggressive and kind of like dominant people, they will start sidetracking the conversation. And okay, tell me more about this. Okay, tell me more about this. Don't let investors guide you with their questions, because the one who asks questions is the one that controls the conversation. That's a very important quote.
So you don't let it. So you just continue.
You have to learn to do it properly instead of just ignoring the question. Say, okay, this is a very good question. I will get to this in 2 minutes. We will speak about this. Don't go the route, because that's the first classic mistake. You go into a conversation. There's a guy that is like, super rich, fucking successful. He's got 15 minutes and he's like, okay, listen. Okay, what is this? Okay, tell me more about this. And you're going to go off sidetrack completely, in most cases, you will lose the point of what you wanted to say. And you will start like jumping around with his questions. And there is no structure for the conversation. He completely takes over. Yes. Don't do that. Remember not to just respond to every quick question. Go through what you have planned, assuming you have a decent plan of what you want to convey. Don't let him interrupt with the questions, not impolitely, but say, I'll talk about this very good point. I'll talk about it a bit later. If you can quickly respond and so on, that's fine. But make sure the investor doesn't start controlling hijacking the conversation with questions. That's a standard thing. I was pushed to learn that quite a bit.
That's good feedback.
Yeah, that's a specific kind of specific thing.
When I go to the meeting, I should present the same pitch deck, right? Or is it a separate presentation?
To be very honest, I don't think ever in my life I've actually presented a pitch deck. I've had like, I don't know, thousands of investor meetings, like bigger, smaller, in London, like across hedge funds, fucking all sorts of things. I don't think ever I presented a pitch deck, because I think I don't think it's needed to present. And oftentimes people are like, you go to this big meeting, there's like, 5 people, and they say, okay, so present. And I'm not going to go through the slides. I think I want to save your time and be very concise. Again, in 2 minutes, just discuss in an engaging way the problem that, the problem you want to solve, the money that you're asking. And if you're good at, pitching, you don't need the pitch deck with the slides. Like, you will simply convey the idea that you have in the slides in your own words, and then the conversation starts. And then they can start asking questions. Okay, tell me more about this. Okay, I can tell you more about this. Tell me about this. But in the beginning, like I said, I normally don't present, like, that's my...
Oh, really? Wow.
I think it's for me, it feels like very, how to say, not stiff, but somehow like artificial. But because when I get to the meeting, it's not anymore about my pitch deck. It's already more about me, the team, the experience. Like, do we have the competence, to answer the questions and so on. It's not about the pitch deck. The pitch deck they most likely will have reviewed before. Yes. And oftentimes, but again, in specific environments, like we were pitching in New York across different interesting, like big family offices and hedge funds, they don't have the time to pull up the pitch deck to like go there. Like you just go there, like basically have 20 minutes. Yes. Quickly you explain, okay, I'm here, I'm doing this, and that. We need money for this. We're from Eastern Europe and so on and so forth. And then you can have the conversation. There's no time for a pitch deck.
Really?
But that's
I've never done it,
Yeah.
Okay.
It can be different situations in different environments, but remember, control the conversation. Don't start going with the questions too much.
Now, realistic question that could be on the minds of everybody listening, plus it's on my mind. I started doing this basically this week. This is my first kind of doing this preparation of everything. How long? Because I have that in my back of my mind. I can also do it bootstrap because I have my existing business that funds it. It's okay. How long? Okay, I put like effort into it, and I should expect something. Yes, no, like the time frame.
Yeah. I think a few months, realistically, six months. I mean, in reality, in Eastern Europe, in the Baltics, the time frame for getting funding secured is much longer than in Silicon Valley, US. But so we're talking about you doing it here, right? We're not talking about you going to London or maybe Berlin, where it's also faster. Yeah. So let's say, I would say have an expectation of like 3 months, maybe 6 months, not longer than 6 months.
3 to 6 months to secure funding or to get the answer?
To secure like a certain answer that you're going to get it, not necessarily maybe funding in the account, because that might require, I don't know, some legalities or whatever, but to have a binding term sheet offer that basically it's all the key terms are already discussed, agreed upon, and it's only a matter of like technically getting the money.
And now is an important question also in my mind. If I have this number in my mind, which I would love to raise to do the project faster.
3 months, that's not realistic, probably like 6 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I would imagine. I mean, if it's super hot and it's good circumstances, it's possible, but...
At 25th October, your speech was about how to not lose equity or how to not give it away so freely.
One of the main mistakes I've done.
One of the main mistakes. So right now, what would be your advice on this project, this idea?
Yeah, not to give up equity too much. So first of all, it's good to be aware that this is a thing that you have to pay attention, not to give up too much equity. So first of all, have that awareness. Second is to have alternatives. The best way for negotiation when you're talking about how much equity you're giving up is to have alternatives. Your best alternatives, you don't really need the money in the worst case. And you shouldn't put it in kind of like in everybody's faces, but have that as security. And it's rarely the case. Most people, most startups, they don't have that option. Yeah. So you have that luxury option. That's very good. The third thing is obviously just technically structuring the investment in a way that you don't give up equity, that it's an investment as a convertible debt. Nowadays, everybody knows it's safe, simple agreement of future equity. Yes, that also comes from Y Combinator, Silicon Valley. Normally, like these days, everybody already understands it, and nobody has objections to, like as a startup investor, to put in, let's say, 20, 50, 100K, sign a safe agreement, a convertible debt agreement that sets a cap at which their investment would convert into equity. I mean, we're technically talking some stuff people can read up on it. Basically, safe convertible debt, that is a way to invest. Unless your business is already in a position where it kind of like generates consistent revenue, you know what is the growth trajectory of that revenue, and then therefore you can price it. Because in your case, probably you cannot yet price meaning set the valuation of the company. It's too early to set the valuation, and hence you take in convertible investment. And when you get to a position where your company can be priced, the valuation can be set, let's say it's 5 million, whatever, 10 million, then those early investors will convert. But probably you can also, I mean, you have to speak to like an up-to-date VC to tell you what is what types of investment, what types of companies that are at early stage, maybe don't yet have revenue, but they already go for a priced round. I'm sure there are deals like that also happening. I was speaking to like a lending company that basically have a priced round. Yes, but that's their choice as founders. But basically, way to not give up equity early on is to do the convertible in the beginning.
Is it attractive to the investors?
Yeah, it's fine. Everybody understands it. Everybody knows it. I mean, it's more attractive, obviously, if I give you like 100K and you give me 20% of the company. But that's if you really think about it in the long term, I fuck you already right in the beginning as an entrepreneur.
But of course, there's risk of me losing the money, right?
Yes, for sure. So it is acceptable. That's how venture capital backed companies are built. So I think it's a norm. Yeah.
I would really love to get an investor who's actually in the space.
Okay.
Right? That would be an additional bonus. Who's in the software space.
Okay. My very personal experience, but this is very subjective. Can't speak to many others, is that, okay, everybody says they're going to help, they're going to open doors, they're going to connect, they're going to do all of these things.
They say that.
In my experience, investors, there was one guy, Dmitry, big up to Dmitry, who's an angel investor from Russia. He was really like helping, introducing with other guys and like, really like passionately helping us all throughout, and he was respecting us as an entrepreneur because he had built companies himself. But all these like, I'm going to help you do everything, open doors. It just doesn't happen most of the cases, and that's logical because everybody has their day job and they're busy with stuff, and that's why I'm also very careful when like I invest in some company or get involved in a project to say, oh, I'm just like, come to me, call me up, and so on. Because when they do, you're like, fuck, man, I don't want to deal with your shit. Like, I don't care. I invested and I want to exit. That's my job. So yeah. I suggest to be careful about that.
So takeaways, what I got from the conversation. So no family pictures that relevant.
Yeah. Think about what's relevant. Yeah.
Think what's relevant. More problem slides. The pitch deck should be more about the problems. Yeah. Use also facts about the problem, like
or your. The best, like the big facts, the total addressable market, TAM. Yeah, have you heard of TAM?
Of course.
So that's like, everybody knows you need to put in like 100 trillion TAM. I'll like manage this 1%. It's 100 billion company. It's all fantastic. It's all made up. I don't think ever people believe it. The moment you start speaking, okay, over the 6 years, my experience, specific cases, like this was the problem. It's not addressed. The one thing was missing actually existing competitors. I have no like market mapping of existing competitors. That is super critical. Yeah. That's the most useful.
Then less about the product, but more just about the functionality, what it does in the bullets, and add a demo at the end where they can watch it, see it, learn about
and maybe
it if they want.
Financial background also a little bit. Not background, but like plan.
Then the ask a specific number, what you're looking to raise, and why or where will you spend it as a pie chart. Next thing is to have a list of 100 investors, reach out. Right now I have done it to 4 funds, need to bump that up. Try to find connections with different people who know these people so that introductions I could get, more leverage, a little bit better results, because in your experience from 100 people, maybe 1 will respond. Have a demo ready, have the team ready also if they need to jump on the investor call to just, know what to do. And then just learn about the investable options, what is safe, what is convertible debt, what is convertible investment, and
what's a term sheet. We didn't get to a point where you get term sheets. That's a whole different story.
That's a different story.
Yeah, that's another.
That's for the next month, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. But this is good.
I think
and remember that pitching. That's like, I think I spoke with some young guys after the conference as well. Okay. They're like, okay, can you help me with the pitch deck, or what do you think? And I'm always saying, okay, guys, this is the easy part. The 10% of like nice slides, description, that's the cool part. You're chilling in the office, like it's all cool, you're vibing, and then you hit the reality and you understand nobody cares. Like it's hard to get to the investors, and you get to speak to a professional investor, and you're like, you haven't pitched it 100 times, like rehearsed it, and you're like all over the place. That's what you need to focus on. The discussing, explaining, like being precise, being like super competent, this stuff. That's the focus.
Cool. I think it was a really interesting video. I have never actually seen anything similar in YouTube, where there's actually a pitch deck and feedback.
Actually, I did videotape me pitching also to investors in the US, talking in the office. I had like earphones.
Okay.
Man, when I watched these videos, I was like, I had so much unnecessary like words and stuff and mumbling and kind of thinking on the spot. And I realized, man, that's horrible. Like if the investor needs to listen to that, it's garbage. You need to cut it, be like super precise. So
I will watch this also one more time, to go through it. Cool. I think it's a wrap. Hope you guys enjoyed it.